Hello, everybody. Welcome to Choose Life with Harry. Today, I'd like to talk to you about decisions. The decisions that we make during the day, some of them are going to decide your future, and some of them are going to be hurtful to people if you don't decide to do the right thing. It says in the Bible to take up your cross and follow Jesus, give up yourself. That means to decide to live for Jesus, and there's a lot of things that Jesus wouldn't be happy about the way we live. The decisions that you make, a lot of the important ones really count only when you're alone. When you're with your friends and they're talking about their wives, or you're with your friends and they're talking about their husbands and they complain, they don't pick up after themselves, or they don't show you the attention anymore. They do nothing but sit around and drink and eat and go to bed. They don't help around the house. That might be true, but I wouldn't complain about them out loud in front of other people in public. That's your own personal thing you need to take care of with your husband and wife. It's a bad thing to confide in friends and even family about your spouse. You need to go to God about your spouse. You also make the decisions not to look at other people in a sexual manner, lust in your heart for another man or another woman. It's one thing to do that when you're with people, but it's another thing to do it when you're by yourself. You see someone across the room and you watch them, and maybe you make eye contact with them and you get a little flirt thing going on between the two of you. Make the decision not to do that alone. Not to watch a TV show that has sexual innuendos alone. Turn the channel when you're by yourself. Don't just turn the channel when you have your kids in the room, or your wife walks in the room, or your husband walks in the room. Just when you're home by yourself, turn the channel. That counts more. That means you're really doing it to respect that individual. When you're by yourself and you're at home on the computer and you start clicking on things and watching things that you know you shouldn't, sometimes that's an addictive behavior. Choose not to click on it. Turn the computer off if you have to. It says run from sin. Turn it off. If you can't stop yourself, throw the thing away. Don't let it drag you into hell. Don't let it be the reason that you don't look at your husband or your wife the way you used to anymore. If you spend enough time with your husband and wife adoring them as you do on the computer, you'd have a better life and you wouldn't need the computer. You wouldn't need to be on it. Study your husband and study your wife. Find out what makes them happy, what makes them laugh. What kind of flowers do they like? You can buy flowers, but if they don't like the certain flowers that you buy, there's no sense in doing it. Find out what kind they like. Their favorite candy, their favorite food. Take them out to dinner. The decisions that you make decide your future in heaven also. If you decide to not follow God and not have Jesus in your heart, you're going to go to hell. It doesn't seem like there would be a loving God that would allow you to do that, but that's what it says in the Bible. He sent his son to die for you. He's already done what he needs to do, and he's begging you to let him come in. Let him be in your life. Let him be your friend. Let him be your savior. All you got to do is let him. You just got to say okay. Maybe your life is going great the way you think great should be. Maybe you have lots of money. Maybe you go to church. But the way you conduct yourself outside of that, really, in your heart and in your mind, isn't what Jesus really is looking for. He wants a relationship with you. He doesn't want you to show up at church and give your tithes, even if it's 10%. He wants you to have a relationship with him. James 3 actually has a lot to do with people who teach. You can even be a teacher of God and still not be following him, not acting the way that you should. You can be one thing and live a different way. When you ask Jesus to come into your heart and you truly want him to clean up your life and talk respectfully and watch the shows that you should and listen to the music that you should, it shows in the way that you live. People who go to the casinos and spend all their money hoping for a winning, those casinos make a lot of money, and they don't do it other than off of your money. You see a casino adding a building onto their building, that's thanks to you. A golf course added onto a casino's got a golf course, that's thanks to you. Decide to do something different with your money instead of always spending it on the hope and the dream that you will one day win. It's a lot of money wasted. All the scratch-off tickets that people buy, they finally win $20, $50, $100, but how much money do you put into that? How much are you really ahead? If it's just fun to play and you love soaking your money into that, it's too bad because it's just a waste. It's an expensive game. Drinking and smoking and porn. People buy porn. I see the porn shops, cars parked out front. I don't even think they really want to be there. It's an addiction, and you try to make a decision not to go. Ask Jesus into your heart. Decide that you want to stop going to these porn places. I don't know how bad that feeling and that urge is, but I know that God can change it for you. I do know that. I have friends that have changed their lives. Alcoholics that have stopped drinking. Smokers that have stopped smoking. Gamblers that have stopped gambling. I truly have friends that have changed their lives. When you're alone, make the decisions that you should make. Don't just do it as a show for your friends. Ask God to come and help you. Ask Jesus to help you make those decisions that you need to make. You know, on TV, you're watching TV, you'd be surprised the things that they say that you accept that are okay. Would you watch a TV show that put your mother down? If your mother was sitting next to you on a couch, would you turn that show on and say, "Hey Mom, watch this," and then they do nothing but put your mother down? I don't think you would. Well, they put God down. They take God's name in vain. On TV, they say "God damn" all the time. Oh, Jesus. Ah, Jesus Christ. That doesn't even feel right saying it, but I want you to hear it because they say it on TV and you accept it. Would you keep watching the show that kept putting your mother down, or would you change the channel because you either were embarrassed that your mother's sitting there watching it with you, or out of respect for your mother, that you truly love her? Would you be angry that they would be doing that? Well, I love Jesus and I love God, and they take God's name in vain all the time. It says, one of the commandments, do not take the Lord God's name in vain. And they do. Even such a simple phrase as, "oh my God," that's vain. Vain in the dictionary is without worth. It's irreverent. It's disrespectful. It's without substance. God created you. God created everything. If anyone should have some reverence to it, it should be the word God. You should only use the word God when you're speaking to him, asking him for help, praying to him, not describing something, especially not putting the word damn after it. But TV allows that. I was so surprised when I first heard the word damn it. I can remember that. I couldn't believe it. We've come a long way from the Donna Reed show and Leave It to Beaver. Back when the morals were out there for people to see how you should live. I don't hear the word shit on TV. Shit is just another way of describing poop. It's dirty, and it shouldn't be said. But I would much rather hear that than I would rather hear them take God's name in vain. I have friends that even put the F word in front of it. F and GD. And it's sometimes only describing something, an emotion, or how describing a thing. Maybe you just aren't understanding that you're doing that. Maybe you do it so much you don't even understand it. Your conscience is just so defiled that it doesn't even faze you. If you ask Jesus to come into your heart, he will change you. He will clean your conscience. So even the smallest things will bother you. That's how a Christian lives a Christian life. Jesus cleans your conscience, and he allows you to understand the little things that you shouldn't do. I hear people say all the time, you walk around all hotty-totty like you're better than everyone else. Maybe, but most of the time they're just understanding the little things that God doesn't want them to do, that you don't understand because you're not a Christian and you don't have a clean conscience. Your conscience is so defiled that it doesn't even faze you. Watch how you talk to people. Don't put them down. Don't put them down with a little laugh. I know people that put me down all the time that I used to be around, and they would do a little laugh after it. Well, it's still hurtful. Just because you laugh and smile about it doesn't mean that it's funny. Maybe you don't know how to talk to other people without doing that. Well, it's not nice. Decide not to. If you're the one that's being laughed at and talked to disrespectfully, make a decision that you're not going to anymore. Don't just accept it. I used to laugh along and laugh along like an idiot, but it's hurtful. So I've decided that I'm not going to anymore. You don't get to talk to me in a disrespectful way anymore and then laugh about it. I'm going to bring that up to you. I'm going to ask them to say that without laughing. Rephrase that. Say that again, but don't laugh like it's a joke. It's not nice. Make the decisions in your life that are going to be pleasing to God, that are going to be pleasing to Jesus. Don't watch that crap on the computer. Do it when you're alone, too. Don't just wait until someone comes in the room. Do it alone. Don't look across the room at that woman or that man. Look away. But do it alone. You respect a person more when you're alone than you do when you're with friends. If you're with a group of friends from church and you're walking through the mall and you're talking about godly things, but then when you're walking through the mall by yourself, is your eye wandering? Do it when you're alone. It's so much more satisfying when you conquer Satan by yourself. God is with you. You're not really by yourself. Satan's only mad because he's not going to heaven and he wants to take you with him. You get the choice. Satan doesn't get a choice. He's going to hell. You get a choice. Choose to be with Jesus and just make your decisions that are pleasing to Jesus. You will definitely feel so much better. Don't use your credit card. You don't have the money. That's why you have a credit card. It's good to have a credit card if you have an emergency. Your hot water tank goes. They're too expensive to just pull the cash out of the bank for most of us. They make the credit cards so that your payments are small enough to pay them back, but most of us won't do it. Most of us keep spending it and keep spending it and keep spending it, and then you don't have the money to pay the credit card back, and then they allow us to go bankrupt. So some of us wait the 7 years to go bankrupt and do it all over again. Just decide not to do it. You don't have to have all the things that you have. They make it on TV so that you need them or you desire them because everybody else has got one. You don't have to. Trust me. If you're not a Christian and you want to be, you want a new conscience, you want to make some right choices and decisions in your life, Jesus says all you have to do is call unto me. You're going to get that choice right now. Ask Jesus to come into your heart and clean you out. Wipe away your sin. He will forget every sin that you've ever committed. Start a new life with a new conscience. You'll be amazed. Suddenly you'll be revealing things to yourself that you used to do. And the things that you would normally do, you stop doing them because it actually bothers you. Pray this prayer with me and have a new life. Dear Jesus, please forgive me for my sins. Please come into my heart. Please wipe away everything that I've ever done. Please help me to live right. Help me to treat my wife and my husband reverently like you created us to. Help me to treat my neighbors that I don't speak to anymore the way that you want me to. Help me to stop watching the shows on